Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Backpacktrader training room for Tuesday, February 7th. Good morning, Jeff. Please do say hello in the chat so I know who's here. Please take note of the required risk disclosure. This room is for educational and information purposes only. It is not to be considered individual financial advice. Trading of this type carries substantial risk and should only be attempted with funds that you can afford to do without. All right. Under a minute to market open. We have a get in sync possibility. This is the dark blue trade off the 20 SMA, and this is in the diamond level spotlight package, but can also be drawn in manually. Uh, 10 seconds to go. Soybeans is flat, and we are not there yet, and that trade's off the table. And the market's now open. So we'll look for a new trade. And the Russell picking up a short on Catapult, 1.5 point or 15 tick brick custom Renko, 1.5 point brick, half point offset, and soybeans with a short trade at 15.23 flat. Good size trade at 11 ticks to target 1. And a long trade on the YM. That just touched and pulled back 5 seconds, probably not in that trade. So I would call that a get in sync. And if it stops out, it would have been avoided. Now here is where I would adjust around that little swing level. Looks like that's at 60, and it triggers in anyway. So long on the YM, short on soybeans, and the Russell with a winning trade. Plenty of time to get into that. Getting targets 3 and 4 and stopping out at target 1, or actually looks like they're about 12 ticks at 55.1. Money management and target 1 on the YM. 25 tick target, that's going to be 1 and done. Stop at 767. And good morning, Miles. All right. YM trailing 774 now. And the Russell is flat. Soybeans still short, right around the entry there. All right, taking a quick look back at crude. This trade at 10 seconds before 9 o'clock went too far. 9:02 it was, or 2 seconds after 9 it was down a little over halfway from the entry to the target. So that's a no trade. It's our first trade. Okay, 792 for the current stop on the YM. That's hit target 3 already. Okay, so crude short from 75.24. Minimum 10 tick target 1. We get 10 at target 1, 17 at target 2. 37 tick or 27 ticks on the morning. 799 for the YM stop. And we have a filtered stop and reverse. The trend hybrid mode is keeping us out of that stop and reverse on soybeans. Now, on the that trade's gone too far to even come back now. It's already hit target 1. And we have another short trade on the Russell. I was going to say I would take that down a tick, but he just pushed through it anyway. And YM stops out at 799. That is done. Russell is short. We'll look. We got 27 ticks on crude. Trailer went actually a tick or two beyond target 2. Our basic plan is the two fixed targets, targets 1 and target 2. And that's one and done. We'll wait and look at that at 10 o'clock. And unfortunately, the Russell stopped out. So that's 1 win, 1 loss on the Russell. Unleaded was a really pretty trade here. It took 5.5 minutes before we got into a trade, but short at 41.64. This is also the dark blue SMA trade. Proximity to the SMA, just like the yellow trade off the 50. Target 1 picked up 25 ticks. Target 2, 40. It wasn't a big trade, but the big winner, we go from 41.64 on the entry all the way down to 39.92. So 172 ticks. On that trailer. Approaching $800 just on the trailer per contract. Yeah, that was a good one. I imagine you probably had something similar to that on the unleaded counterpunch trade plan you're working on, Jeff. As if you're working on the 20, you should be working on the same range bar, I believe. Or you're probably working on a similar range bar, that 20 tick, 0.002 momentum bar. And bring up micro NQ now. Yeah, yeah, mm-hmm. All right, first trade is a short. Five seconds and then it reversed. I would almost bet, I would expect that's probably was not tradable, since we went just for 5 seconds at this bar. We have to look at it. Being the first trade, I'll assume that was not tradable. Nice. So we pick up the long, definitely in the long, as it just hit the entry again. Soybeans is still short, and the YM is done. Pound Aussie is in this long trade. Unfortunately, that was the trade setup was about 25 minutes before our start time. And by the time it hit money management, which was target 3, by the way, it hit money management about a minute and a half before our start time. So no chance to get in on that one. But something I wanted to look at here on a small, little small trade like this, where you're at target 3 for money management, I actually would have probably traded this target 3, target 4, and the rest of my position trailing on that small trade. And it's turning out to be a really nice, would have been a really nice trade that way. Trailer up to 339, 73.39. And the micro NQ with money management on the long trade. Nothing new on the Russell yet. And you must have, your setup probably came a little later. Something like about down here, probably close to where my target 2 was. Or maybe just above it. And a break-even trade on the MNQ. And soybeans kind of stuck around the moving averages right now. Nice trade, Jeff. Oh, yours was a purple trade. Okay, well, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, because you were higher than the last one, but not above two exhaustion dots back. Yeah, you said purple, and I didn't immediately translate to counterpunch, which I knew is what you were running. I guess the balance line was, well, no, it shouldn't. Balance line shouldn't have been any different. For the trade room, I use 6 or 5 trades max, because that's our typical max trades on counterpunch. And just for example purposes. But yes, the original trade plan was 4 positions, one and done. All 3 targets and a trailer. Long trade on the micro Russell 55.1. If you didn't get into that, I would push it to 55.4. Yeah, this would have been a white trade, but it would have been too early, but I suspect. Yeah, because see, it was down here by the time by 9 o'clock start, unless you were doing an 8:50 start. You'd have had a trade off of this set of exhaustion dots, a white trade. And another long on the micro NQ. Oh, that's not good. If you're not already in the trade, the Russell trade just stopped out. So if you were already in, it's a loss. If not, it's a avoided trade. And soybeans back down to the entry on the short side. And the MNQ also taking some heat on this one. And those are the Russell and the MNQ, micro Russell M2K and the MNQ. Now you actually have to make sure you're staying within your risk. Yes, it can move a lot, but it can get some big wins real fast. And one of the reasons that I go ahead and run the 5 trades is it's very unusual for it to have 5 losses, but it especially if it has a couple of losses to start, it's really good at getting back somewhere close to break even. But you still want, even if you run 4 positions, you still want to be within that 2% risk range. So it takes a pretty big account to run that with all 4 positions. I don't have numbers specifically, but it was tested by somebody in the room with the I don't have continuing trade tests, but it has been tested with one and done. But as just from watching and running it in the room here without actually plotting the numbers, I would say it is significantly profitable on trading through as well. What long white trade at 9:30? Oh, you're talking about this one? Because it's a stop and reverse, and soybeans is in hybrid mode, which means it's not going to stop and reverse against the trend indicator, which is this red line that's red or blue. As long as it's red, trend is down, and you're not going to take a long. That's why that's filtered out. Okay, MNQ took a full loss on the long and is now short. The Russell picked up a short and just hit target 3. Soybeans getting within 2 ticks of its target 1. Yeah, soybeans can get to be a fairly rich market pretty quickly. It's a 12 and a half, $12.50 a tick. It's a $50 a point market and quarter point ticks. So yeah, 4 positions definitely can get to be pretty rich. But the other side of that is it's usually not you have extremely large risks tick wise. Risk on the short that we're currently in is 17 ticks, so that would be that 68 tick. That's a 68 tick total risk, which is, well, if you're trading four positions, 17 tick risk is 17 points. So that's what, about $850. So you would need what, $45,000 account to trade 4 positions. Yeah, you're right. No, 10 points at 50. Yeah, that's what I said. 850. So yeah, your risk is $850 on the trade. So you're looking at to stay within 2%, you're going to need, basically 42.5 minimum to make that trade and keep within your 2% risk parameters. Exactly. That's why I said as a minimum, I would prefer it to be more like 45,000 for that very reason. So you don't have to drop off a position if you get a losing trade. Now, if you got 45, 47, 45,000, 47.5, you should be fine because it's still only an $850 risk. And my MNQ with the break even. The Russell had a winning short trade, then a winning long trade. Yet the long getting targets 3 and 4 and trailing up almost to target 2. And now we're in a short on the Russell. And down within 2 ticks of target again on soybeans. And there is target and money management on soybeans. Stop will come to 22 and 3/4. And that's an 11 tick target. 3 positions remaining. Yeah, now if you happen to hit one that you actually lose all 5 trades first first day out, then yeah, that's going to be but that's where you just adjust back and take a position off and keep trading. Because that would take off what, $225 roughly. So 17 ticks is 4.25 points. Or no, 212.50. So that brings you back to 637.50. And then you're looking at only a $35,000 account. Target 2 on soybeans. So that's 11 and 17, 28 ticks total so far. 7 points in hand, $350. And 2 positions remaining. Still target 3 position and trail. All right, the MNQ with another money management, and looks like that's going to go for another break even. Yep. The Russell picking up a win on that one, another win on that one, before stopping out at on the break even stop. So we have a win, a loss. I'll call that one a loss. That's 2 losses. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 wins. We're done with the session. That was the 6th trade. So that completes the session on Russell. 22.5 for the soybean stop. Soybeans is not trend mode, it's hybrid mode. It will take the initial trades irrespective of the trend mode indicator. It only uses the trend mode indicator to filter out stop and reverses against the trend. And 3 break evens and a loss on MNQ this morning. Yeah, crude oil is standard mode on Counterpunch. We don't have a trend mode in Spotlight, but yes, on Counterpunch, we run in standard mode. Soybeans is hybrid mode, which is kind of in between trend mode and standard, where it only uses the trend mode indicator to filter stop and reverse trades against the trend. Okay, soybeans target 3 is 17 flat, and we're within 3 ticks now. That's another 24 ticks. That'll be another 6 points. And the stop is at 21.5. And looks like it's going to go probably 20.75. It's going to come down another 3 ticks on the close of this bar. Maybe 4. Another short trade on the MNQ. The pound Aussie trade keeps getting better. And we did get down to, we got exactly down to 15.17 flat. So that's target 3. That's 13.5. No, that's 13 points so far on the morning. And our stop is at 20.50, 20.5 for the final position. That's another 2.5 points. Okay, everything is finished. 10 o'clock, so we're ready for our 10 a.m. crude mini session. We have the 10 a.m. crude mini session in progress now. That short trade is filtered by the crossover filter on Spotlight. 50 just crossed over the 200, so we won't take a trade against the 50. So we're above the 50, so we're not going to take a short. And a long trade at 51, 75.51. Money management at 68 and target at 71. MNQ fighting to get down to money management on its short trade. Money management on crude, and I believe we got, did we get target? Yep, looks like we hit target on the nose. Hit 71, so it should be done, or we will be one and done for this session. So the stop is going to come to 49, but since we have hit a target and are profitable, I'd go ahead and bring the stop to 52, even with the major key level. That's just the way I tend to trade it. Once I get profitable, I'm not going to leave risk on the table on additional positions. All right, looks like stop will come to 54 on the close of this bar. Or wait a minute, did we hit? Yeah, we hit target 2 there. We got as high as 82. And that's what, yep, we hit target 2 on the nose. So that ends the trade. That's both of our positions. But the stop does come to 54. And MNQ stopped and reversed. I would give that a 1 point stop and reverse, so 0975. And we're in that. So that actually is a second loss. And we have the long is our final trade, because that'll be trade number 6. And trailer now up to 63 on crude. So whatever the outcome, this is the last trade on the micro NQ today. Soybean still trailing 2025. It'll be coming down to 1925, 19 and a quarter on the close of this bar. And there we are at 19 1/4. 3 3/4 points there on top of the 13 points for our fixed targets so far. Should come down to 19 even on the close of this bar, unless it pushes down a little bit more. Then may come to 1875. Crude stopped out of it on its trailer, but it had got both targets, even got back up to target 2 again if you didn't get filled. And the pound Aussie just keeps on heading upward. That trade just too early to have gotten involved in, per our trade plan anyway. And we basically we either take a stop and reverse exit or a full stop, and the MNQ is done. That's a losing session this morning. 3 break-evens, 3 losses. It's the same, basically the same way for all of the charts. So yeah, we're done with everything. I'll go through this quickly, but then I'm going to have to call it a morning. I've got to go see the dentist this morning. So I'll get into a all right. So there's let's move these up here. This is just a hypothetical, and there's no trade there. But to attach the stop order to the trailer now, right click on the stop order. You'll have to connect all 4 positions. It's actually 4 separate orders. Attach to indicator. Go into properties. You want to modify toward the last price only. And the indicator you're going to want to use, you're going to have to move over to the far right. And here's so LX and SX are your active stops, long stop, short stop. This is a short trade, so I would use the SX. And I'm not gonna offset it because that we actually are using the indicator dot, and click OK, and they see there it just moved down to that dot, and it's going to follow that from there on. And just do that with each of the trailing stop orders. And the last one. And that's how you do it. Now it'll just continue to follow that indicator up until it stops out of the trade. It as I say, it's SXLX on counterpunch, which is the active long stop, active short stop. Spotlight, it's just the trail. Catapult, let that one continue in the corner. On Catapult, I've got to look at the indicators to see. Let's see, here we go. Okay, yeah, the active long and active short stops would be the ones you'd use for a long or short trade to attach to. And that pretty well covers it. Just basically pick up whatever the active stop indicator is for the particular strategy. And other than Spotlight, there's one for each long and short. I really prefer that over the single one in Spotlight, because what happens with Spotlight, if you connect it too early and you get a stop and reverse, as soon as it switches over, or as soon as the stop and reverse triggers, it's going to yank the stop the other way. So it won't follow. In fact, if you, which is the reason that most of the time I actually use the stop and reverse adjustment in the calculator, so that I don't get the stop yanked out from under me. Good morning, Pamela. On a trade that ticks in unadjusted, but not basically. The way I work that is I don't attach to the indicator until I actually start trailing. Until I've hit money management level, and that takes care of that problem. But that's the only thing I'd like to see changed in Spotlight, is have the separate long and short active stops. Yeah, well, I'm not going to, with either Catapult or Counterpunch, it doesn't matter, because the reversing trade is not going to be the same active stop that you're attached to. It'll be the opposite side. It'll be if you're in a short like we are on soybeans, and you get a stop and reverse to long, the active stop, even if it does trigger in, the active stop there is going to be the LX rather than the SX. So it's not going to change the stop that you're using, other than the fact it's no longer going to track the one you're using. So then you just have to move your stop manually. Yeah, it's no biggie. But with the targets, of course, the target will, when it hits a target, the corresponding stop for that target will cancel. So each target it hits, it'll drop the number of stop orders outstanding down, and change how many stop orders you have until you're down to just the trailer, if it goes through all your targets. Yeah, if you don't run a separate trailing position, then yeah, it'll it'll go until you go through all your targets or it hits the stop. But that's just the things to be aware of if when you're using that tool is, don't just especially in Spotlight, don't just immediately put it on. You can go ahead and put it on in Catapult or uh, Counterpunch, because it's got the separate long and short active stops, and it won't be an issue. But you just have to be aware of how it's going to act on the particular strategy. All right, folks. Well, it's now 10:20, and I've got an 11:10 appointment. So I am going to have to say goodbye for this morning, and we will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9:30. Regular. This week is a regular session, regular week. Crude oil inventory report on Wednesday at 10:30. Next week, yeah, no, it's just a regular cleaning. So go see him every 6 months. But next week we have President's Day on Monday. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. 2 weeks in 2 weeks, this week and next week are regular schedules. 2 weeks, I believe on the 20th is the Monday holiday for President's Day, and the crude oil inventory report that week will be on Thursday at 11. So have a good week. We will see you tomorrow, or a good afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.